Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Threads YouTube channel or my locals channel. If you're joining me from there, first off, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to you all, and thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening. And as always, if any of what we share here resonates, please feel free to like, subscribe, or share with those who you might feel would resonate with this. I am joined again with the wonderful Lígia from Potentials Podcast,
Thank you.
and you're welcome. So glad to have you back.
I'm
And
so happy to be back. Thank you.
we wanted to just kind of check in with everybody on this first day of the year of 2024 and do a little meditation to
Yes.
kind of help us set the tone for the year, get us really anchored into what we want to bring in for 2024 to help us to connect more with our inner guidance and to talk about the energies of Jupiter that have been with us since about the 30th and the 31st of December. And also to talk more about Lígia's beautiful singing and songwriting that she has been offering to humanity for quite some time now. So, without further ado, thank you, Lígia.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here again. I just love the energy that you have.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Thank
just so
you.
beautiful.
I got my little dragon friend up here today.
Yeah. And I think I have a dragonfly. I can't see it, but I think it's there
Yeah,
somewhere.
he's
Yes.
up
So we
there
have
floating around.
dragons. Woo.
Yeah, lots
We're,
of dragon energy,
yeah.
dragonflies. So,
Yes.
so how has your new year been so far?
It has been fantastic. It's been amazing. A lot of great stuff is happening. I'm really excited. The energy so far has been beautiful, and I just, I'm noticing it in people around, even just because I've been out in 3D a little bit, and I
Yeah,
I don't really go out in 3D except to have to go to work. But other than that, I try to pretty much stay out of 3D. But it has been really beautiful lately. I'm seeing like a sort of shift in humanity.
that's
And it was
nice.
encouraging. It was very encouraging. I was walking down the street and noticing this building that I saw that was an old building, and I love old buildings and I love the copper. Like I notice copper on old buildings and I notice if maybe it has a little bit of antiquitech or something that is old world. And
Mm,
there's one building in Sarasota that is like that, right on the main street. It has copper fascia in the front and it's called Cress, which I looked up as an old store from the 1920s. And it says 5 and 10, 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents engraved in the concrete above the store, right?
yeah.
And it has the symbol, it has Cress, the word Cress, in little tiny tiles on the side, not the sidewalk, but the as you're walking into the building. And then it has these rounded windows that are kind of Art Deco era.
Hmm.
The corners are rounded, and you can't
Yeah,
replace those. They can't even make those anymore.
yeah.
So, and I'm just looking at this beautiful building and the structure of the top of it, and how there's these like very ornate kind of uh, details in the building, right?
Hmm.
And I'm looking at it and I'm starting to mention it, and there's people that start, couples that were around me, and they start mentioning it, and they started talking about it and bringing up that, yeah, maybe this is something that we should keep, something we should treasure. I hope they don't do anything bad to this building. I hope they keep this building because this is really a treasure. And I was like, oh, thank God. There's other people out there that are starting to really value things that
Hmm.
were from old world and starting to shift their consciousness towards maybe we should go back to that, or maybe we should value what we used to have that was a better, higher vibe. And they were even saying things like higher vibe. And I was like, whoa, this
So,
is really cool.
so even
And
the language is shifting within the collective. That's amazing.
yeah, and they weren't from here. They were from New York. These are people from up north. And I'm like, cool. So it was very encouraging.
That is encouraging. I know, I did get out and about yesterday and, had the chance to meet up with lovely Kat, who's
Yes.
been
Shout
on
out to
your
Kat.
Yes, hello, Kat. Um, I got to spend some time with her yesterday at a
Amazing.
museum, got to check out some really interesting art, and again, it was so much, so much about the art was very thought-provoking, and we had wonderful discussions, and there was a certain, exhibit that we were spending some time wandering through, and we were checking out all the symbolism within this, particular exhibit of photographs and how we could blatantly see things that were, um, some of these things are just now coming to light, the symbolism and things associated with occult and all that kind of stuff, and it
Right.
was funny, as we were discussing it, we noticed that there was a couple of people that were kind of eavesdropping and listening to what we were saying, and it was kind of like they were hearing what we were saying, and it was like you could just see the wheels turning within their minds of like,
Yes.
"I see what they're talking about. What does this mean?" So I kinda wonder how many of them went home and did some independent research, so
Yes. Well, I hope
Mhm.
so. That's what we need to do. Like, I'm glad that we're doing this here, in 4D or whatever this is. But
Yeah,
I like being able to spread it out to lots of people. But sometimes there's just like little pinpoints. There's just like little breadcrumbs that we can drop in 3D as well that also affect all the other dimensions. And that's
yeah,
what we're doing. It's multidimensional, is what we're doing. We're sharing multidimensionally. And I just want to say I love the crystals that I saw those photographs that you guys were standing next to these huge, enormous, gorgeous crystals, and that
I
energy
know.
must have been incredible. And I
It
thought that was
was.
cool that the synchronicity was probably around the exact same time. I was walking around a crystal store with a friend of mine that came down to visit from Philly, and
Super.
I wanted to show him the crystals because it just we have these stores downtown that just have these enormous crystals, and you can walk right up to them. And I mean, we're not supposed to touch them, but you can feel the energy.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
It
Yeah.
is funny that super synchronistic that you were hanging out with some crystals and we were hanging out with some crystals. One thing that I did notice, uh, about that experience, I didn't think about it until later, and one of the things that I did notice was, while we were standing there trying to take each other's pictures right next to this beautiful crystal, this woman and her daughter were standing behind us, and she was pretty much the only one that actually spoke to us. There were lots
Mm.
of people, like, pushing and shoving and,
Hmm.
kind of going around, and they were very much in their own little world, but while
Hmm.
we were standing there next to that crystal, the woman asked, she said, "Hey, would you like me to take your picture together?" And I was
Oh,
just like, "Oh, that's really nice, thank you for asking," and
yeah.
we took her picture with her and her daughter, but that was the
Aw.
only time that we really had any interaction with the general public other than the museum workers and volunteers that were, you know, directing traffic and things like that. But that was one little nice little point in the trip where it was like, oh, there's still nice people in this world, and maybe it was the
Yeah.
energy of the crystal that was
It
asking,
it could be your
her to,
energy and the combination of the
who
crystal,
knows? Who
and they
knows?
feel like maybe they are already vibrating at that higher frequency and they're getting there,
Mhm.
and that's why they were able to notice you and feel you and want to help you in some way.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's true. I mean, even a couple of days ago, it was probably maybe it was even the morning of the 30th, I felt this huge rush of, like, positivity and just happiness and joyful energy just coming in from out of nowhere, and, I didn't question, and I thought, "This is good, we need this, I'll take it." And
Yeah.
it just seemed to really kind of intensify and increase, through the 31st, and I feel that, the collective, may be slow to waking up and feeling it, but I feel like definitely with the New Year celebration and everybody kind of feeling like a chapter is closing, and we have this ability to, start really thinking about what do we want to bring into our lives, what things do we want to let go of, what do we want to release, and you know
Yes.
really tapping into that Jupiter energy and combining it with that New Year's feeling of we have a fresh clean slate this year. what can we do personally and in our communities and in within humanity, what can we do to make the world a better place? So
Absolutely.
I'll take it all day long, every day.
Yes. Yes, and that is exactly what the path, the track that I'm on, the path that I'm on with you is trying to make that happen,
Mhm,
trying to help people look forward to the future in a
mhm.
positive way, seeing
Yeah,
what can we do to make this better
yeah,
and to improve everything, and we are and we will. We're
we
already
will.
on that track. We
Yeah,
just, need I'm impatient, so I want to accelerate it. I want to go faster, but
I know, I know. I feel
I mean, all in good time, like you say, in divine timing, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, what's interesting too is that a lot of us that are really tapped in and tuned into, you know, ourselves and what we wanna see and what we wanna create, and we're here to help humanity because there's a lot of them right now that just they're not there yet, and
Yeah.
as much as that's frustrating for us sometimes, it's just being able for us to hold what we have, hold light and hold the
Yeah.
higher frequencies is what helps them to
Yes.
push past. And one thing I noticed even, in a couple of sessions last week was, there's a lot of people that are doing the work for themselves, but in their sessions, what's come through is they're literally clearing stuff on the collective level that some people just can't do. So they've signed up for this incarnation to kind of carry some of that heavy weight and clear it,
Mm.
clearing
Mm.
karma, clearing trauma and
Yes.
drama. And so
Yes.
I'm super glad you guys all signed up for this.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who's doing this.
Yeah, it takes an
It's
army.
it really literally takes an army, and I feel like we are warriors on some level. It's a different type of warrior. It's not necessarily with physical swords and shields, but with,
Yeah,
metaphorical ones and spiritual ones. So
yeah,
uh, we are wielding our frequency and spreading it around, and like I think I was mentioning with the job that I have, like I go into a place where it's chaos, and there's a lot of negative energy, or you could just feel that. And I walk in, and it's just I'm not even really doing anything but just holding frequency.
yeah, yeah.
That's all I'm doing. I don't feel like I'm saying or doing anything unusual or unique. You don't have to say anything really. You just have to keep yourself calm and peaceful and happy, and keep yourself in that energy where you're just noticing everything around you that's beautiful,
Mhm,
and focusing on the beauty of everything. And so when
mhm,
you do that, you hold that certain frequency for everyone else around you that maybe hasn't noticed it yet, but maybe will start to. You can point it out to them, maybe, oh, look at that beautiful, look at the way the light's shining on that pretty plant over there, and
mhm.
and something like that maybe will shift their consciousness just for a second and make them not think about the negative stuff that's going on around them.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, even the other day, just in my own personal experience, I was watching the sunset, and it was just a
Mm.
gorgeous, gorgeous sky. I think I sent it to you and a
Yes,
few
that was
others,
gorgeous.
and
Yeah.
I realized I was like, "I don't remember seeing the colors so vivid. I don't remember seeing such a beautiful sky," and I kept thinking about, 10, 15 years before, like, did I just not pay attention?
I
Were the
think about that
colors this
too.
bright?
Yeah.
And, somebody reminded me, after I sent that picture, they were like, you gotta take time, to be in the present moment and absorb, the beauty, the nature. And I was like, "Oh, yeah," like, that was a nice reminder that, you know,
Yes.
do it as often as you can and, just taking those pauses and, again, that 3D is always trying to distract us and keep us in this state of fear and distraction and worry and anxiety and, um,
Mhm.
focusing on
Absolutely.
all of the different negative scenarios that could or would happen, and, so just remembering to really tap into those moments as often as you can of staying in the present moment, observing the beauty that's around you in nature, observing the beauty that you see and experience when you come into contact with other people and like the
Hmm.
words that they use and, so just a nice
Yes.
reminder.
Yes. Yeah, it is interesting. I think about, years ago, I'm remembering when maybe I wasn't in the same mindset, and
Mhm.
I don't think I noticed, unless it was really obvious in front of me, how beautiful everything was,
Yeah.
and then now it's become where it's a moment by moment thing where I just constantly notice beauty around me. So that means that at some point my vibration must have raised, and I believe it was a gradual thing
Oh,
over
yeah.
years, that it didn't happen overnight. But there, like we were talking the other day, that in 2024 there's a possibility that it can become like a switch for some people, where the light switch will just turn on, and overnight, 1 second they will be just, the way they've always been, and overnight, just a second later, whoa.
It's
You
like
know?
they wake up and
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh, I understand. I know what I'm supposed to be doing," or
yeah,
I feel the mission. I feel the purpose. I feel in touch with my soul's guidance, like, I know
yeah,
why I'm here, and it's super interesting to watch people wake up, whether it's gradual or whether it's just, like, boom,
yeah,
overnight.
yeah.
It's always such a beautiful process to observe. It often makes us reflect upon our own of, like, "Oh, how did I wake up?" and, "Oh my gosh, why didn't
Right,
I see all those things before?" But now I see, and once you see, you can't unsee. Um,
right. I agree. I feel like it's layers or levels, or it has been for me anyway, where I just go from one level to the next, one layer to the next, of some kind of frequency shift,
mhm.
um, where I feel like I had one this year. Like this past year has been a beautiful year. Like this has probably been one of my favorite years of all time, because I've met so many new amazing people, and not all in 3D, mostly not in 3D actually,
Yeah,
but a few in 3D and it's just been an incredible experience of making me feel like I know what I'm supposed to be doing now. I came
yeah,
into my mission in 2023,
yeah,
into what my current mission is. And I know there will be more, even deeper, more involved ones in the future. But the one that I'm in right now, I came into last year, and it feels like putting on the most comfortable pair of jeans that I've ever worn. Or
I love that. That's a really good analogy.
it just feels so good. And coming back into my my gifts that I had, one of them was music that I hadn't been doing for a while. I had
Yeah,
put
that
it
was
kind of on the shelf for a while, because kind of what happens when you're a creative type is that you shift between your abilities. You shift between your gifts. You're not
mhm.
always writing and doing art at the same time. Sometimes you do art for a while, and then you stop. You don't do that for a while, and then you do your music for a while, and you write for a while, or whatever. It's not always the same thing. And even
Yeah,
your art abilities may be different. Like one year I did a lot of painting, and the next year I did more drawing of like sacred geometry, and you just do different things. And I learned how to write Sanskrit one year, and so it just different levels of it. But this year I went back into writing music again, and I hadn't written in a long time. So it just it just comes to you. You don't really try to write music. You just kind of get struck with it.
yeah.
And that's what happened. I got struck with like a bunch of songs. I think I wrote 7 songs last year.
Speaking of, are you thinking that that will be something that you're gonna be doing for 2024?
I'm feeling it, yeah. I mean, maybe I'll be I'm hoping, because I don't plan it. It just comes.
It happens when it
It
happens.
just happens. It's just natural. So, um it's not like when you cook and you plan your meals. It's like when you cook and you feel like making something.
Yes, the
You know that feeling.
inspiration is there, yeah.
Right. You're like, oh, I feel like making this today. And then it
Yeah,
just all comes, all the ingredients come together, and then you have this beautiful feast, right? Well, it's kind
yeah,
of like that when you write a song. It just, you get this feeling of, I want to make this. And then it just kind of all happens. It just,
yeah,
I don't even know how to explain what it happens, but it's like it comes out of the ether. You
yeah,
pull it out of the ether and it just comes to you once you connect with it. It's
mhm,
very much like channeling. It's you literally channel a song
yeah,
and it just comes. So that I feel like that will, I'm opening myself up to that, so I'm feeling that that will probably happen
yeah,
more. And the songs that I've already written last year, I'm hoping to be able to perform those or put out those more because of the messages in them, not because I personally want any kind of fame or accolades or any kind of recognition for these songs, but because of the messages of the songs I feel are timely and I
mhm.
want them out there. And even if I'm not the one who ends up singing them, if somebody else does it and puts it out there on a larger scale for more people to hear, I that would be amazing. But I I really don't want anybody coming back to me and saying, "Can you perform this in front of a lot of—" No, I don't. I don't want to do that.
So, since we're on the topic of music, songwriting, and singing, how did this come into your life? Like, I know it must have been quite a journey, and it sounds like you've had quite a long career. So, um, yeah, if you're willing to, we'd love to hear about that.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. Thanks for asking. I did. I had for a very long time. I've always loved music, but and I used to hear songs in my head ever since I can remember. But um, I don't think I really did anything with it until um, I listened to music like as a child and as a teenager, of course, that I would be closed up in my room listening to music over and over and over again, and my parents were worried about me because I never went out and like associated with anyone. I was always by myself, alone in my room
The
and
loner.
listening. Yes, but a happy loner.
Yeah, yeah.
I loved being alone and I loved just listening to music and listening all different kinds of music and learning the words and learning all, like I would try to figure it out on the piano, figure it out on the guitar. I'd drum along with it, like everything. So I'd figure out all the different parts, and know all. So I did that with a lot of with a lot of music, and it was just overwhelming probably how much music I listened to. I probably drove them nuts because they had to hear me listening to the same stuff over and over till I got it.
I'm
That's
sure yeah, it's just like a child that is in band or in some sort of, like, orchestra, and they're learning to play the violin, or they're learning
yeah,
to play the trumpet, and it's, like, the same,
yeah.
but that's how we learn.
That's repetition
yeah.
is glue. So that's what I did, and thank God my parents were very patient with me, and they bought me a stereo system. They bought me a lot just to keep me in my room so I wouldn't do it out in their living room. I didn't pick up on that though. Um, no, they were very loving and kind. But anyway, I started really getting into music heavily, and then um, I just would write poetry. I wrote words and I didn't really think of any that was going to take me anywhere musically. I just wrote poetry a lot. And then it wasn't until I was in college and I was a music major and my boyfriend was a music major that we started a band with other music majors with two other guys. We all were taking music together. I hated music theory. I just wanted to perform. I just wanted to sing and play and not necessarily perform in front of people, but I didn't want to be like an opera singer, and that's what they were, teaching me to be in college. I didn't want that.
Mhm.
As you know, I'm sure you can relate to
Oh,
that because you told me your story. So, we were singing in
yeah.
Italian and German and like
Italian opera, like, to this day,
really,
I still kind of cringe a little bit when I hear it because they made me sing so much of it, and I'm like, "Oh, please don't
yeah.
make me."
Yeah, if I have to hear Virgin Tutto Amor one more time, no. But
Oh gosh, that resonates more than you realize.
So yeah, so I started to I took piano and all that, and I just wanted to do everything by ear, and I just wanted to enjoy it. So the people that I did music with in college, we ended up starting our own band, and we wrote our own songs, and I didn't even know that I could write. And that's how I found out I could write, because I brought my little book of poetry, and they were playing they were jamming, just coming up with songs on their own, and they asked me to get up and sing a poem. They were like, why don't you just do this? Like, like they knew, I didn't know.
Yeah.
They could somehow sense that I was able to do it. And they encouraged me to get up and sing in front of the microphone and just sing what came into my head. And I did. And that's when I found out that I could. I was just actually literally shocked when I was doing it. I remember being like, how am I doing this, while I was doing it, thinking in my head, how am I doing this? Like, how am I didn't know I could do this.
It sprung from internal.
It was actually a little bit of, like, I had the gift, but I felt like I was pulling it out of somewhere, and I didn't know how it was happening. But now I
Mhm.
do, because we've studied quantum physics, and we know a little bit more
Yeah.
now how that works.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
know about the plasma field and the ether around us and how things happen. But at the time, I didn't. And so I was very, like, blown away and kind of intimidated a little bit, but at the same time enjoying it. And I loved it. And it was a true love of being able to do this. And it brought out, like, I was very introverted. So it kind of a little bit pulled me out of myself to see that I could do this, and then
Mhm.
feel like there was a response from people in a positive way. And terrifyingly, I had to sing in front of thousands of people at my college, and that was terrifying. But fortunately, I couldn't see them, because the lights were shining in my eyes so bright, and the lights were down inside of the stadium, so I couldn't see.
Mhm.
And I could only see the first two rows. So I was like, okay, well, they seem to be enjoying themselves. That's good.
Blinded by the light, literally.
Like, literally, yeah, I could not see. So I just would close my eyes a lot when I perform, and not I was afraid of connecting because it was scary. So I didn't do that at first, but eventually, when I started performing in front of smaller groups in bars and stuff, it became easier. Like, singing in church was terrifying, because I
Mhm.
did do that first. Um, when my kids were really little, I used to sing in church, and I was so terrified that I would hold the microphone like this,
Oh,
because I was so scared. And I remember, like, singing and then running into the bathroom, and, like, just I'd been holding my breath the whole time almost, and like, just running into the bathroom and putting water on my face, and then a lady coming in going, that was wonderful, darling. And I was like, oh, thank you, because I couldn't tell, because people in church are so quiet, and they don't clap,
yeah.
and you don't know if they liked it. And I'm like, was I really that bad, because I thought I was horrible.
Yeah,
And
when you're hearing nothing but, like, the echo of silence back to you after, like,
yes,
getting up the courage and the inner strength and letting all that flow and then hearing nothing back, like, that's gotta be
right,
nerve-wracking and, like
right. And you see people smiling, but you don't know if they're just being polite, like,
Yeah.
because, so I didn't know. But anyway, it was, I did that for a while, and then eventually I met my second husband, and my kids. When we moved to Philadelphia, and when I was out there, he was the one who was he wanted me to perform um, in clubs and bars, and I didn't really want to, but when I started doing it, it was a totally different vibe. It was like, people were listening, but they weren't listening. So it wasn't as scary, you know,
Mhm.
like, they were casually listening. And then every once in a while, because I wasn't singing my own songs, I was singing somebody else's songs, but the lyrics would resonate with some people, and they would sing along, and I'd notice what words they were singing along with, and it'd be like, oh, that must mean something to them, you
Mhm.
know. And so then I could feel that maybe in some way it was healing to them.
Yeah.
And so I ended up in a an original band eventually, because that's really what I wanted to do, was write songs again. And my kids were a little bit older, and so I felt like I could do that. My husband, you know, said he was encouraging me to do it. So I joined a band that was kind of a goth band, and this was where the interesting part comes, because I had a lot of pent-up frustration and things that I
Mhm.
hadn't expressed inside of me. From my first marriage, my first marriage was, not to go into a lot of detail, but my first marriage was an abusive marriage. He was abusive physically to me, and not my kids, thankfully. But so I had a lot of pent up frustration about that I never let out. And my mother had passed, and I didn't really get to say goodbye to her. You know, it was sad, and I felt like I had let her down somehow. You know, so there was like all of these feelings that I had bottled up inside that I hadn't gotten out, and a lot of frustration because of the marriage that I was in. There was a lot of frustration going on with that because he was an alcoholic and I didn't know how to deal with it. Um, he wasn't so much around me, but he worked a lot. He was a workaholic and an alcoholic. He was like a functional alcoholic. It was weird.
Mhm.
But so anyway, I had all of these feelings inside of me, and I just always tended to keep things inside. But the only way I could get them out was through expression, either with art or music, and that was the healthy way of doing it for me. So I started writing these songs where I was expressing all of this, you know, all of this stuff I had inside of me, screaming, you know, guttural screaming, you know, and getting it all out. And I didn't realize that I was doing shadow work because I didn't know what that was.
Mhm.
I didn't know anything about that stuff. And I was very spiritual, but I didn't know a lot about those kinds of things because I had been raised Christian. So
Mhm.
we weren't taught about shadow work or any of that. So I just felt like, okay, well, feels good that I'm getting this out. But I didn't know that I was actually helping other people to get it out of their system too, until one day and this is what made me want to keep doing performing, because I was not a performer and I was an introvert. I didn't like being in front of people. But what pulled me out of it was that I realized that I was healing, that it was a healing experience, that it was symbiotic. I was healing myself and helping other people to heal themselves at the same time by doing
Mhm.
this. So when I was singing these words that I had written, they also resonated with the other people who were going through maybe similar things. And they were able to express it because they learned my words. So I was watching people sing my words back to me, and they were getting all of that out at the same time I was getting it out. So it was like a a communal kind of shadow work that we did
Almost
together.
almost like this mutual release through emotional connection. So
Yes.
you're getting it out, they're recognizing, they're identifying where that emotion and that feeling is within them, and they're getting it out as well. So that's beautiful.
Yes.
It's really
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
Yeah.
that's what when people like say that that kind of music is evil or it's wrong, it's that's one way you can look at it, but it can also be very healing and very cathartic if
It's all
you
about our
use
intention. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
If you use it as a release, it can be very healing. So that's what I did, and I got it all out. I got it all out, and then I didn't feel like I needed to do it anymore. I just
Yeah.
didn't. It's like, you know, I don't mean to use this as a an example, but after you throw up, you don't need to throw up anymore.
Right, and I think one thing too that, like, that probably gave you, like, again, I think society is kind of in the past has taught the feminine, the divine feminine, that they can't be angry or that they
Yeah.
can't, it's not ladylike to be angry. It's not proper to admit that you're angry or show or express that. And so that was your way of like releasing, all these emotions that, maybe society was teaching you not to, especially again, coming to the Christian background. Like a lot of my
Yeah.
family is very Christian or Catholic, and so it's very much
Hmm.
the same way. So I think it's really, really cool that you were able to not only channel that stuff that you needed to get out and doing your shadow work, but then also giving people the opportunity to connect and then release whatever crap they needed to release at the time. So
Right.
thanks
Yeah,
for helping
definitely.
everybody do some shadow work.
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, I I don't know if my intent was to help at first, but I think at first I just was doing it for me, and then it became
Mhm.
a help. Then I realized that I was helping others
Yeah.
eventually. And that's when it became like, oh, I know why I'm doing this now. Now I get it. And
Yeah.
and it is that divine feminine empowering thing that happens. You feel empowered, and then
Mhm.
other females, I noticed it was a lot of females that it was resonating with. There were males there as well, but there were a lot of females, and a lot of them were very young. I was
Mhm.
actually surprised. I didn't write these songs for teenage girls at all, but I noticed there were a lot of teenage girls that were coming up to me afterwards asking for my autograph, which was weird. But, they wanted to let me know that they appreciated what I was doing. And I just thought, wow, I didn't write these for them. In fact, I probably used some language in there that I thought maybe they shouldn't know. But but apparently it resonated with them and they liked it and they thought it was cool. So whatever works, it wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. And I had to get over that. I had to get over like being embarrassed by my own um, what my own expression,
Yeah.
because it was given to me. It was a gift,
Yeah.
and I was using it the way that I was supposed to use it in the moment. So you're right. We're not supposed to, like, females are supposed to be very demure and very,
Yeah.
ladylike, and only sing in very soft voices. And I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
definitely not doing that.
Yeah, I think there is a way to be feminine and still show, strong emotions, and it's just finding that balance or finding the tool, the outlet, the modality that resonates with somebody most, and clearly you were tapping into it and others were resonating and really benefiting from that, so it's beautiful. Love it.
Thank you. I highly recommend it to anyone out there if you feel like you need to do this kind of shadow work.
Mhm.
Find some music that resonates with you that allows you to do it, allows you to get it out. So because it isn't healthy for us to keep these things inside. And especially women, we're taught to keep all this emotion and feeling inside, and then we get cancer,
Mhm.
because we're harboring it inside and
Mhm.
holding it in.
Yeah.
So open that throat chakra.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
This
Is that,
giant
turquoise?
turquoise. Yeah,
Yeah, I've got my
this is
turquoise ring on, so
yeah. Turquoise is good for the throat chakra, and my rose quartz earrings fell out, so I'm just holding them in my hand now, playing with
Oh,
them.
love it.
But yeah, so crystals are definitely very powerful. But yeah, so that's the story behind the me doing that kind of music. And then eventually I came into just starting to write my own songs that were after the divorce, because we left him, um, my second husband, because he did end up becoming abusive to my younger daughters, both my daughters, but not physically so much, maybe a little, but more verbally, more yelling at, ironically, while I was yelling and screaming at an audience, he was yelling and screaming at them, and I didn't
Mm,
know it,
yeah,
because I was gone. And I felt extremely guilty about that for a very long time because I had no idea that that was happening. And, I would have never, ever allowed that. So,
right.
um, yeah, that was still hard for me to come to terms with sometimes that I wasn't there to protect them. But but anyway, we were eventually, it all came to head, and it came to a reveal, and I found out and we left. And so I started writing songs about healing based on my healing, and those songs came out. And so I still have that, and that CD, because that was back when you made CDs, but I
Mhm.
made my own.
Yeah.
And And then I just kept writing, and I still do to this day, but now my songs are more spiritual and more about what's going on in the world right now, and um or what I'm feeling. um I just get struck with things. I don't know where I don't plan to. I don't think, oh, I'm going to write a song about this. It just happens.
Yeah, what is it they say? Creativity is not planned, it's spontaneous. I don't know the exact
Absolutely.
exact phrase, but yeah, it's very spontaneous,
It's like a
so I do
spark.
agree. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
literally like you just you know lighting a match.
yeah. So, what is the name of your I know you're on Spotify and I know you're on SoundCloud, so how do people find your music? How do we find you?
Well, that's a very good question because I've changed my name so much that I've not done myself any favors. It's like I don't want to become famous, so I make it as complicated as possible. Um,
You're
so
evolving. You're evolving.
I
Yeah.
am, yes. So what I named myself Linda Lamour for a while.
Mhm.
On I did this through DistroKid, which is a distributor, and then they put me on all these platforms, which every streaming platform like iHeartRadio,
Mhm.
Pandora, Spotify, all of the main, YouTube Music, all of the main streaming services that are out there. I'm on all of them. So you would find me there with that CD that I just mentioned from 2003, is under Linda Lamour. It's spelled Leenda, like Linda, but only the way my grandma
Lee.
used to say it. My Italian grandma used to say Linda, Linda. So that's the right way to say it. So I spelled it that way, Leenda.
I
For
love
people
it.
who don't know the Italian pronunciation, L'amore, Lamoore, because my father's last name is Moore,
Mhm.
Moore, and LA before that because l'amour is the French word for love.
I love that.
It's just a play on words.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm always with the word play. So that's what I named myself, and then I put my album out under that. So if you look up Linda Lamour, you'll find my first CD. And then on same thing, my second one is called Devinsmore, and that's how you would find me um,
I know you're
on
on
all of
Spotify
those.
there too.
Spotify, yeah, YouTube Music, Pandora, iHeart Music, all of those streaming services. Devinsmore, and that is Divincemoore. So what that
Okay.
is my mother's maiden name. It was just DiVincenzo,
Mhm,
and I shortened it to DeVince for,
mhm.
people to easier. And then Moore is my father's last name. So it's a combination of their two last names.
I
So
love
Devin Moore.
it. And I will be sure and put links on, this when I drop it into
Okay.
YouTube and to the Locals app, so that way they can find links to everything. So just
Right.
yeah. Well
I'm
well,
Linda Jane Moore on Reverb Nation, and I'm also on SoundCloud.
yeah, I know I
And
found you on SoundCloud and I found you on Spotify, so
SoundCloud I might be DeVince Moore. I'm not
I
sure if
think it
I'm lead.
is.
It's either DeVince Moore or Legia Moore. I don't know.
I think you're right. I
I've
think you're right.
confused myself. So yes,
Well
links are good.
yeah, yeah, we'll put some links in there, and like I said, yeah, like, we're always evolving and,
Yeah.
we're developing as human beings, and we're developing as a collective, so, um, yeah, and what is the name of the album from 2003? I wanna make sure that we put that in here
It is
too.
called
Something
Something
More.
More, which is Moore, Something More,
Of
right?
course, I love it.
And then the Devinsmore one I think is called Even More. And then I'm going to be releasing a new one eventually, and it's going to be called Forevermore. And that'll be
Okay, so
my
you have to
last.
come back when that happens so
I
we can
will.
talk about that.
Forevermore, and that'll be my last because it'll be a trilogy, and then I don't. know if I'll still be doing music, but probably in a different, in another dimension or something. I don't know. Multi-dimensional music once we figure
Maybe
out
it'll
how to do
be
that.
more dimension.
Yeah. Oh, more dimension. The more dimension. Mm.
Yeah, you're tapping into
Yes.
more, so who
Yeah,
knows?
right, right. You never, yeah. That's a
Keeping
good
that
one.
play
Keep
on
that open.
words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep it open. Yeah, I like that. So my new songs that I just mentioned, the ones about the spiritual ones that are
Mhm.
like one's called Catching Wavelengths. It's more quantum physics. It's more
Ooh,
about that.
nice.
Catching wavelengths and dragonflies,
Mhm.
revolving door. Um, let's see what else. Then I just wrote uh, the longitudinal waves of love, which is also quantum physics, and then the most recent one, which is the planet blue, which is like an anthem.
That one I love.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And so those ones you can find on um, SoundCloud and also my TikTok channel. I have videos of me doing them on TikTok.
Wonderful. Wonderful
So
sharing everywhere.
yes. So on TikTok, I think I am liquid light activator.
Liquid okay, that's right, yes. I think I put that in the last podcast thing, so I'm gonna
Right.
try to grab all of that
I know I
info
have a
when
lot
I
of links.
You're just everywhere, you're
I am,
multidimensional.
I am, yeah, I'm omnipresent.
That's right, that's right. Well, I'm so glad that you were sharing this musical journey with us today, and
Thank you.
thank you so much for
Thank you for allowing me.
thank you for just making sure that you're bringing forth your gifts and, staying true to what you need to share and staying true to your mission. Um, I don't know about you, but how would you feel about doing just a quick little, like, closing meditation to set the tone for
Absolutely.
2024?
Yes. Yes.
I didn't
Oh, and
pre-plan anything, but it was one of those where I was like we had talked about it, I think on Signal, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds really good. We should probably do that." So,
right. And if there's anything that people want to, is there anything you want to ask the pendulum?
um, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Is there a question that you wanna ask? Ask? Because 'Cause I'm not nothing's really coming
Um,
to mind at the
let me,
moment.
will there be more disclosure in 2024?
I feel like that's gonna be a really strong yes.
That is a yes. Yeah.
A whole 12 months of disclosure, I'm sure.
Yeah. Let's see.
But I feel like it's disclosure, but I feel like there's also so much coming in to replace what's really falling and what's crumbling,
Yeah.
and that's what's even more exciting to me is,
The
you know
replacements, sending in the
yeah,
replacements. Yes,
yeah.
I agree.
So
And we, do you feel the crumbling? Do you feel that they're losing grip?
yeah, I do. I mean, again, I think this is where I think about the quantum field and like there are some that are still kind of at a different layer of frequency. Again, I always think of everything as layers. Like White Hawk is, when I first started learning about things, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand, especially like when it came to past, present, and future. And I knew nothing about quantum physics at that point. And he said, imagine everything in layers. Imagine you're on one layer and somebody else is on another. And the things that you can hear, feel, and experience, they may not be on the same layer of frequency or level of frequency as you. And so
Absolutely.
when they work on their consciousness, when they start letting go of those lower frequency things, they begin to rise within their own layers. And again, it's all personal. So,
That's
um,
beautiful.
he was really saying like there are going to be times when you may not understand somebody who's at a higher frequency than you, and likewise, vice versa with somebody else who's at a lower frequency than you. So that was really helpful for me to understand. And so I
It's
literally can can see it and feel it, and I experience it every day. Like, if I go into a store and it's very
Yes.
low frequency and I can tell the people around me are kind of like a lot of them are stressed or they're anxious or they're in a
Yes.
hurry and they're not
Hmm.
present within their body, and they're all up here, and, maybe they've spent way too much time on social media absorbing,
Mm.
everything that's being projected out there through, those frequencies, of fear and hate
Right.
and, "Oh, you need to be afraid," and, "You need to
Hmm.
worry about this," and a
Yeah.
lot of it is nothing more than a distraction that's keeping them from being connected, from being present within their body and really feeling what's going on internally within them because there's so much
Yeah.
focus on the external. So I
Yes.
can literally see them, and then maybe you have a moment where you have just a little brief snippet of a conversation, and then all of a sudden you can kinda see, like, the light bulb, and it's like they can just stop for just a moment, and what you say, they're able to catch, they're able to understand, they're able to catch on, grab onto it, and then the next thing you know, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go for a walk today in nature," or "I'm
Mm.
feeling called to spend more time with my grandchildren," or, something
Yes.
very, very small, and that
Yeah.
literally just sets them ablaze. It sets them on their
Yes.
path, and it's
And
super
they're
cool to see.
almost like they're just propelled up to the next level, to the next
Yeah,
layer. The next layer is just they were just like they just needed that little push,
they
to get up
did,
to
yeah,
the next layer. It's that layer thing is beautiful. I love that. I love that visual because I feel like everybody can see that. Everybody, you can visualize that in your head what the layers look like.
yeah.
And it's like layers of an onion.
It's very much like a
Layer.
layers of an onion, and he even said, "If you need to," he goes, "think about it like a staircase," like, as you go
Mm,
up the stairs, people see what you're doing. They feel, what you're vibrating at, and it
spiral
encourages them,
stairs.
yeah, and it encourages them to maybe take a step up in their life, whether it's take a chance at, you know, changing jobs or pursuing an education that maybe is a little, you know, different than what they would have thought they could do. It's encouraging them to step out of their comfort zone,
Right.
thinking outside the box too, so,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
love that, thinking outside the box. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The box is an illusion. I have to
There is no
remember
box.
that. There is no
Yeah,
box.
it's just like there is no spoon, there is
There
no
is no
box.
spoon. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. It's great stuff.
Mm.
So, all right. Do you wanna lead this meditation, or how do you wanna do this?
Um, what do you feel? What are you feeling? Are you feeling that I should do
Um,
it, or
I can
doesn't
start
matter?
us off, and if you wanna take over, yeah, I'll get us started. I'll at least bring
Okay.
in White Hawk, and
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
bringing in White Hawk of the star nations, those beings of the highest vibration and light that assist us here every day, every moment in our reality, helping us to connect deeper with our own inner wisdom, our own personal guides during this very important time for humanity. We bring in blessings of love and peace, looking forward to all that 2024 has to offer us individually and for the collective. We welcome in the energies of gratitude, of peace, of love, of perfect health, harmony. We welcome in the energies of expansion and transformation. We welcome in all of our guides, and we welcome in all of our gifts,
Mm,
and
yes.
just asking for all this for everyone here today.
Opening our heart chakras, our hearts, our heart portals to all of our gifts, opening our energy, just receiving those gifts that maybe that we don't even know we have, um, opening those gifts, sharing them with others, giving those gifts to other people as well so that they can share them to others, just in a quantum entanglement kind of way. all over the globe, all over the universe, really. We can connect to other beings, star beings that are waiting, just waiting for us to open ourselves, our hearts, mostly our hearts, that's where it comes from. Open our hearts to receiving that beautiful energy, the healing, the love.
It's beautiful. May we accept all of our gifts and all the love that is meant for us as we receive each breath, taking it in deeply, exhaling out anything that no longer serves us, releasing lower frequencies, and allowing those lower timelines to collapse as we move forward
Mm,
into this bright and beautiful 2024.
yes.
So
Feeling
any
those sound frequencies too, the sound of the beautiful sound of nature around us. Opening our hearts and our ears to hearing those frequencies, to hearing notes that we've never heard, hearing sounds that we've never heard before, seeing colors that we've never seen. Opening our hearts to that.
and may we be able to receive as much as we give out,
Mm,
being open to receiving love,
yes.
prosperity, perfect health,
Yes.
harmony.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Yes, being open to receive because we've been taught not to, that it's wrong to receive, that we should only give. But when we receive, then we're able to give more.
So I'm getting a little bit of this Lyran energy coming in, specifically the blue avians,
Mm,
remembering,
beautiful.
helping us to remember that we can rise above,
Mm,
taking the eagle eye view,
yes.
and asking for their guidance, clear guidance, making it unmistakable for those who are asking for guidance at this time.
Mm, yes, clarity, bringing in clarity.
Allowing us
Bringing,
to open more.
mm, opening our spiritual eyes. Yes, Smokey.
There's also feline energy from Lyra, so that's very fitting that Smokey's joining in. I love
He
it.
is he is channeling something right now. Mm,
I'm just taking one last deep breath in, filling the lungs with breath, with prana, with light, and allowing yourself to release on the exhale all the old energies of 2023 with gratitude. Gratitude for the self and gratitude for all our relations.
mm. Yes, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we close this meditation.
Mm,
Mataki Wasin. Thank you.
thank you. That was beautiful.
I absolutely love that. So glad that Smokey was like, yeah, I'm back here and I have something to say.
Yes. And he definitely felt the Lyran energy.
Oh,
That's amazing.
okay. Well, hold on just one moment. Apparently, I had a little more to exhale there.
That's
I had some tea that went down the windpipe.
oh,
Yeah. Um, so glad that you were able to join us today. Thank you so much for being here.
my
And
pleasure.
please come back and let us know about any music updates that you have. We'd love to have you back. And I will be sure and include all of your info on
Thank you.
YouTube and as well as the Locals podcast.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Of
You know,
course.
just I really look forward to having you on my podcast again on Having No
Yes.
Potentials,
Yes.
um, because you are just amazing, and I would love to do maybe another meditation with you,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
that was really powerful.
Yeah, I could definitely feel in like all this Jupiter energy coming in. I could definitely feel so much just letting go, with each one of those little breaths. And maybe next time we'll do a little more breath work with it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Some
Make it a
releasing
little
some of that.
longer. Yeah.
Right, because we have to release to be able to receive. We have to release all of that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like there was a lot there with the heart chakra for people of
Mm,
not being able to receive love, prosperity, feeling undeserving. And so
yes,
we got to let that shit go.
absolutely. Let that shit go.
Uh,
Absolutely.
all right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me today on this first day of 2024.
Yes.
And I appreciate to all of those who are here watching. And again, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share, and hop on over to Lisia's podcast. Check out her stuff. I'll be sending all the links at the bottom. And may you all have a wonderful and blessed 2024.
Love you all.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.